Hard. All right. So, welcome to From Burnout to Buy-in, Rebuilding Team Morale Through Trust. My name is Anthony Poponi. Focus on the 40 is my company. I thought about an alternative title for the today's program, and I was going to call it the Sunday Scaries. Have you all heard this term? It's essentially the term for when we have a Monday through Friday job, and on Sunday afternoon we start thinking, oh man, like. Work is coming up tomorrow. This work thing is pretty hard, right? Um, and so what if we could make it something so that on Sundays, like you weren't afraid of the work that was coming, that you could actually find joy in the work that was coming in that week, and even if there's hard stuff in there, because there is hard stuff in work, and it's natural and normal, right? All right, so some high level framing for what we're going to talk about today is, I want you to picture your team like 1 year from now. So it's August of 2026. So it'll be August of 2027. For my folks in the public sector, that's kind of uh, crossing over between a couple fiscal years, right? And I want you to be thinking about what would it be like to say, I feel energized here and I'm doing the best work of my career. And that's an interesting thing, right? Like, I'm not sure how you're feeling right now. You feeling energized? You feeling good about the work you're doing? And that question is for you, but today I'm going to say this a couple of different ways. I'm going to say, hey, this is about you, but it's also about your team. It's also about how are you feeling? What would it be like for you to feel like you're doing the best work of your life? You feel energized around your work, but also for your team as well. And it's a two-way street. Like you have to have the energy to lead people if you are a leader or supervisor, but your people also have to have energy as well. So we're going to come back to that theme over and over because it's not just about you, it's about your team, and it's not just about your team, it's also about you, right? Any of these things are applicable to both. And the high level framing for today on what we're doing is, first of all, we're going to diagnose. So we're going to look at burnout, and then we're going to do a quick diagnostic tool on what it would be like to experience burnout again for you, or maybe some of the signs that you might be seeing in your team. We're going to talk about what it takes to build or rebuild trusts. Trust is a dynamic thing. It requires investment. It requires consistency. It requires recognizing when trust has been broken in small ways and in big ways. And sometimes you have to rebuild trust. You have to honor the fact that something has happened to affect trust. We're going to play with a model today called drops, which is one of my methodologies that I use with teams. Um, and sometimes you have to realize that trust has been broken in some way between you and another person or between two different people. You may not be involved, and that you have to get them to rebuild trust. And recognition is a really big part of when we're talking about people being burned out or talking about people feeling underappreciated or having people feel like they're just overwhelmed. First of all, we can diagnose that. Second of all, we can say, okay, if trust is present, they can tell us how they're feeling. They can tell us where the disconnect is. And we're going to talk about where mismatches come between the work itself and what makes us feel empowered and engaged in the work and trusting the people around us. And the third part is recognition. Like, how do we recognize people? Recognition is a massive and powerful tool, and it's very simple. I'm going to give you a framework today on how to do that. Well, that's me. My name is Anthony Poponi. I don't go by Tony. People say, why not Anthony? And I say, because Tony and Poponi together would be Tony Poponi, right? My company is called Focus on the 40. And I tell everyone that I look like Brad Pitt from a distance. Most people don't agree with me that I look like Brad Pitt, and I can't even get people to agree on what distance that I look like Brad Pitt from. This camera is too high resolution for it. Someone said, Anthony, you don't remind me of Brad Pitt, but you know who you remind me of? And I said, who? And they said, Jim Carrey. And I was like, oh, Jim Carrey. I'll take that. Like Jim Carrey. I need a little more lift in my hair to look like Jim Carrey. But he's had a really cool career. He's a millionaire multi times over, actor, comedian, kind of more now, kind of like a mindfulness kind of guru. And I said, "Oh, I'll take that comparison." And I showed them this photo of Jim Carrey, and they were like, "Oh, that's not the version we were thinking of." That's me drumming my fingers on my desk because I'm upset. Half of my business is doing facilitated programs, kind of like what we're doing today. And this is a real quick version, but I do a lot of work inside of workplaces. It's really fun stuff, and we do a lot of multi-month engagements, group coaching, executive coaching, professional development coaching. And the other part of what I do is it's called motivational speaking. I don't like the term motivational speaking because it's kind of it just makes my skin crawl a little bit. I've had the opportunity to speak internationally 3 different times. This is from Taipei last year in Taiwan. I've also spoken in Thailand and also in the Philippines. I don't like the term motivational speaking, in part because it reminds me of the Saturday Night Live skit from Matt Foley back in the day, where he lived in a van down by a river, and I don't want to associate with that. Okay. Real high level, we're going to play with some things that come out of one of my recent books. I just released another book actually today. It's called Never Tony Please. It's a comedic memoir of stories about my life and things I've learned, and it ties in positive psychology tools and insights, which positive psychology is the study of human happiness. But the book that came out last year is called The Little Book of Workplace Happiness. And we're not going to talk about too many of these parts because it's a quick session today, but we're definitely talking about part four. We're going to touch on burnout, and we're also going to be talking about trust. Okay. Now, if you notice, the book is pink, and the reason there's a book pink is pink, all right? Like, these Sunday scaries, the things that can give us discomfort thinking about work, the things that make work hard, the things that upset our stomach. The idea that the book is meant to help solve those problems. Okay. It's about solving the problems around workplace culture. Now, I'm entrepreneurial, and I was like, who could partner with me on these things? I reached out to Pepto-Bismol. They own the brand sorry, Procter& and Gamble owns the brand for Pepto-Bismol. And I was like, hey, would you partner with my talks? And they have not returned any of my calls, emails, or texts. Um, and I did reach out to Taco Bell. And I was like, Taco Bell, what's going to happen? You're going to eat it. 15 minutes later, you're going to be like, I made a huge mistake. So what if we put Pepto-Bismol into the sauce and makes the new Pepto-Lupa? Taco Bell, owned by Pepsi Company, has also not gotten back to me. All right. I told you we're going to diagnose today. We're going to talk about building trust and recognition. Okay. Let's talk about diagnosing first. Okay. And when we talk about diagnosing burnout signs, there's a much deeper version of this. But we're just going to do some quick versions today to give you some awareness and some fluency, some language around burnout. And again, remember, this is a two-way street. It's about you. It's also about your team. Okay. First, let's do a little comparison here. It's like, we talked about mismatches before. Let's talk about this as a diagnostic tool. When we talk about some of the sources and the reasons that burnout happens, it's not just about like too much work, okay? There's other more subtle things that come in from this, okay? First one is workload, can you sustainably recover from the pace that this job requires, okay? And what it looks like is the red flag of weekends and evenings slowly disappearing. Okay. Second one, do I have a real say over my work and how it gets done? That's control. The human brain loves control. Or are decisions made without you? Especially like big, decisions around your work. When we talk about rewards, does the pay, and pay is not the number one driver of burnout, right? But the recognition, which we will talk about, meaning match what you actually give to the work. Sometimes like the best work we do goes unnoticed, right? We get hired for a job, and then we do these special things. We don't get honored for those things. And then community, do you trust the people you work with? Do you feel trusted back? We'll talk about trust today. And then isolation, unresolved conflict, feeling alone in the work that you're doing. And fairness are decisions made with voice and transparency and equity. Okay. And, sometimes the rules seem flexible for some people and not consistent. And then values, do you the stated values of the organization, the vision statement, the value statement, the mission statement even match what you all do every day, or are they just kind of something on the wall, right? Now, when we have these moments of mismatch between these things here, here's what some of these quick signs of burnout can look like. And we're gonna do a little activity for this. So I want you to get your fingers ready to help me in the chat. Okay. First one is cynicism, kind of having a jaded view of the world, right? The next one is having a perceived or real loss of effectiveness. It's like I'm not getting as much done. And then the third one is exhaustion, and that can be physical or it can be emotional, right? Or it can be both. We're going to do a quick digital survey. I love this survey tool. It's called a digital survey. We're not going to actually use technology for this. We'll use the chat, right? But the digits we're going to use are your hands. Ha, get it? Digits. Okay, fine. 0 is low, 5 is high, 3 is right in the middle, kind of neutral, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, all that. Okay. So let's see how you're doing on these, okay? When I put this up, how would you associate with this? You're like, I am easily irritated by small problems, coworkers in the team, right? You're like, yeah, that's me. Like, I'm a 5 on that. Or you're like, no, that's not me. It's a 0. Or if you're like, I'm somewhere in between, what would y'all say? Okay, Janice says a 3. Jenna, and I bet that's seasonal for you because you work in the financial realm, right? Well, financial realm, that's the wrong thing to say. She works in a finance department. So there's probably some seasonality to the work, right? It makes it really intense certain periods of time. Okay, got a lot of right in the middles here. That's good. That's good. Cool. Threes and threes and threes and threes. Nobody's saying five. That's good. We don't have to worry about you yet. All right. Second one is called effectiveness, right? It's a perception, it's a reality or perception that you feel like you're achieving less than you should. How would you rate yourself on this one? 0 to 5. Zero is like, no, not me. I'm feeling good. Or five is like, I used to get so much more done. What we got on this one? Okay. Okay. Y'all are cool as cucumbers. This is easy for you. All right, feeling good. I like it. I'm glad you're feeling good. Okay. Now remember, this is also about your team. You can be thinking about your team with these things, right? If you're hearing these words out of your team, you're like, oh, yeah, there's something on, right? Okay, final one is about exhaustion. At the end of the day, most days I feel used up. This can be psychologically or physically. Jenna, you were real quick on that one. Like, yeah, I gave it all today, right? Yeah. Now, this doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? If you walk away from the day and you're like, "Whew," like, man, I got a lot done today. That was a lot of work. That was really hard. That really challenged me. But see how I said that, right? That was energetic. And I was like, man, that was a big day, but that feels actually pretty good. Like productivity can feel really good, right? But if you walk away from the day being like, I had a to-do list. I just absolutely am emotionally and physically crushed right now. I didn't get anything done on my list. And that's the fourth day in a row that it's been like that. Oh, like that's a five. That's probably a six, right? Okay. All right, this is the highest one for y'all. Okay. You're feeling used up at the end of the day. Some of that can be tied back to this mismatch piece. Okay. So pay attention for that in your own work. Okay, there's our diagnostic. Now, again, if you're feeling any of these things, again, your scores were lowest on the first and second one. Third one was the highest. But pay attention for these signs from your people, the kind of words that come out of their mouths that might be like, oh, okay, that's what that Brad Pitt looking guy was talking about. All right, cool. All right, next one. Next part of what we're going to talk about is trust. Okay. And building trust, rebuilding trust. Trust is dynamic. Okay. Let's talk about the definition of trust because it's important. First of all, trust is the confidence amongst team members that the peers' intentions are good, right? That there's no reason to be protective. That I trust that you are here for the collective results, the collective good of this entity, okay? Whatever the entity is. It could be a whole department, it could be a division, it could be a unit, it could be a small a group of people working together. The second part's really important, and this part really plays into getting people to trust you enough to tell you how they're really feeling, right? So that when somebody comes in, the word vulnerability is in here, right? Like being vulnerable enough to say, I am pretty exhausted right now and I need help, right? Like, and I need help in the form of more support. I need help in the form of technical support because I don't know how to do this, or I am just like, I am overwhelmed right now. Okay. Um, that's a vulnerability that if you don't trust people, you're like, I can't pretend, I got to pretend like everything's fine because it will be used against me because I don't trust the people around me. Now, when we talk about trust, we talk about trust through kind of for two reasons that we really don't trust people. Okay. First one is we don't know them. And we don't know them, we don't trust them. Trust is something that is not given out freely by the human brain because it's a risky thing. If I trust you and you are untrustworthy, you could abuse that situation. You could use my vulnerabilities against me. Okay. So we have to build that up over time, and we're going to talk about how to do that today. Now, the second reason we don't trust people, right? We know them, we know their behaviors, we've seen them break trust before. Now, when we talk about trust, the model that I really like to use, and this is what we do with teams, is we break this down. We break down trust in really three different ways. But the first one, it's so simple, right? It's just you and me have a relationship with each other, okay? And that relationship is like a bucket. And if we have a good relationship and you are trustworthy and I am trustworthy, that bucket will hold water, okay? There's integrity in the relationship between the two of us. And if we have been working together for a while, we've known each other for a while. If you have been referred to me by someone else and they know you and they say, oh no, Jenna's really great. You'll love working with Jenna. That adds water to the bucket. Now, Typically, the water gets added to the bucket very slowly over time. I am watching you. I am observing your behavior. I am watching your work ethic. I'm looking at the quality of your work. I'm looking at how you carry yourself in the workplace. And that will add little tiny drops of water to the bucket over time. Now, if we break trust or we breach trust or we do something wrong, of course, the water will fall out of that bucket. You will knock the bucket over, right? And then you have to rebuild trust slowly through this process called drops. So get your fingers ready because we're going to use the technique again. I'm using the chat for these digital votes. And we're going to just use two parts of the drop methodology today. Normally with teams, we do all four parts of these, but we're just going to play with a couple of them today. First one, let's invert the way that we did this before on the scoring, okay? Can you be direct? DROP, direct is the first one. You address difficult conversations honestly, respectfully, and in a timely manner. 0 would be bad on this scale. 5 would be good. How would you rate yourself on this one? Chat open. Janice says 3. Okay, 4, 3 is good. Yeah, good. And 3 is right in the middle. 4 is good. 5 is great. Okay. Now, this is like saying something like, hey, it seems like you're really struggling right now. Can we talk? Or inverse it if we talk, remember, we're talking about you and your team, like inverting that and being like, hey, I am absolutely at my wit's end right now. I am feeling burned out. I am feeling like I can't keep up with all this stuff. I used to get so much more done. I need support, right? And having those conversations with people. Trust is a really big part of it. Like, can I say that? Can I be vulnerable enough to do that? That's being able to be direct, okay? And answering directly too, versus saying the two most risky words in all of this, I'm fine, right? If somebody says to me, I'm fine, I'm going to ask them questions about that because that's kind of a red flag for me. All right. Next one that we're going to talk about in our drop methodology, DROP, is it's going to be other focus, okay? And this is about you actively seeking to understand and support the needs and perspectives of other people, okay? This is you saying, I'm aware of the people around me and I'm paying attention to when people are doing well and when they're not doing well. What would y'all say on this one for your scores from 0 to 5? 5 being high. Okay, good. Jana, you're fast in the chat today, I'll tell you. 4, 3, 4. Good. Yeah. All right. We're on the plus side of 3, or at least 3s and 4s on this. So good. This is the one when I work with groups, it's actually the lowest most of the time because they're like, well, this is a job. You're not supposed to have feelings at work, are you? Especially when I work with law enforcement people, probation professionals, all those folks that are just like, hey, man, we have badges on, we have guns, we don't have feelings. You got to leave those at home, right? And that's not the way things are anymore. Probation departments, specifically that I work with, are recognizing that there's like a human side to the work that they do. And there's human beings doing this hard work of probation. Just it's cool stuff. All right. So those things that being able to be direct with people and also being able to speak directly to those people and saying, I am seeing something is up with you. Can we talk about it? That is being other focused. All right. Now, the thing that we can do to buoy people and to add energy to them and keep them feeling good about the work they're doing is through recognition. Okay. If all you can do in recognition right now with your people is just say, hey, you're doing a good job, high five, right? That's technically a high 10, I think, right? That's okay. What we know is that recognition is really important. And one of the leaders in this space, they're called Gallup is the organization. They used to be associated with Clifton, has a 12 question survey with 2 questions that really stand out when it comes to recognition and how that can actually keep the batteries full in those people. And this question, very simple. My supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person. That's a pretty big deal. Now, notice what it says there. Cares about me as a person, right? As a professional, sure, but also as just a human being that has dogs and pets and kids and has illnesses and that has family issues and has a life away from work, right? They want the best for you as a person and also as a professional. The second part, in the last 7 days, I have received recognition or praise for doing good work. Okay. And this again is a two-way street, right? You should be getting this sort of recognition, having feeling like your supervisor cares about you. You should also be giving that out to your team. So instead of giving a high five, here's a quick strategy that just makes it easier to give really good recognition to other people. Okay. High-powered recognition looks like this. It's specific, it's personal, and I'm going to give you an example of this in just a moment. It's public, it's peer-driven, and that means that a supervisor giving it down to a direct report, fine. Immediate as well is important. Like it's great to have annual awards and all those things, but really, really powerful, high-powered recognition has all of these. Okay, specific to the person. It's personal about it's specific to what they did. It's personal about them. Publicly means it's done in front of other people. That also sets a standard for recognizing excellence. It's peer-driven when it can be. It's people at the same level doing it for each other. And it's immediate. Okay. It's great that you give out annual awards, but if you only do that once a year, there's 364 other days in the year where people may not be getting recognized for the little things that they're doing day to day that make the wheels move inside of a company. Okay. So an example. I know you've invested, so you might be saying this to one of your colleagues or one of your employees or one of your supervisors or one of your supervisees, right? And I've underlined some things in here that are part of that process of doing really effective recognition. So I know you've invested a lot of time in our new sales software, right? So that's saying, hey, I've been paying attention to you, really getting to know this new sales software. And I can see sales conversions increasing since our changes yesterday, right? So you're giving them that feedback really quickly. That's that immediate part of it. And then you've got a knack for technology that's an important contribution to our team, right? You're picking out something unique and personal about what they're doing. Again, do that in front of other people or have people do that within the peer group. And it's really, really powerful, right? You don't have to get it perfect the first time. If all you're really good at doing right now is saying, hey, good job today, that's fine. Start thinking about how to use this framework. And just, if you have to, just like script out your notes a little bit as you're going up to give someone some feedback, but do not like hold the piece of paper up and be like, Dear Jana, today you did a great job with the reconciliation of the, no, don't do that, right? But you got it because it needs to be like authentic as well. All right, so here's the deal. Like you're gonna have to work on this stuff. That's just how it goes, right? You can come to a session like this. It's a 30-minute lightning session. And maybe there was lightning in a bottle. See what I did there? But you got to work on it. And so I'm sorry to tell you this, but to get better at building trust and reducing burnout or preventing burnout and doing recognition, you're gonna have homework, right? So don't make that face when I tell you you have homework, and don't make this face when I tell you you have homework, and don't make this face when I tell you you have homework. You got homework, okay? I'm going to aid you in doing this, and I want to give you some resources to do that. First of all, get your phones out because I got some QR codes to share with you for things you might want to sign up for. First one is we're launching a manager academy. If you are a manager of other people, I will call you a leader in those programs. So we're doing something in September. I'm going to put this back up, even though I will take this slide down. We're going to be talking about leading through change, leading up to your supervisors, leading between peers, leading your people, and then leading yourself. It's a 5-week program. You're going to walk through each of these in this program. It's a paid program that we'll host through Maven. And then we're going to give you, I'm going to give you today a freebie. I'm going to give you 50 powerful manager moments. I'm going to give you a free sample for that. You can buy the full version of it online at Amazon just for giving me some feedback today. I would love for you to give me some quick feedback on what it was like to experience this today. What did you learn? What's your big takeaway? Okay. If you are the kind of person that could refer me, I told you building trust through referrals is huge. So if you know conferences or associations, or you have a workplace where I could work internally, connect me with the HR director, connect me with somebody that's the event manager or on the events committee, or if you can book me directly in the workplace, would love to do that as well. And remember, any of these things that you're working on, things that you're trying to get better, you can do it. Okay. I want you to focus on just taking one of these big things that you learned from today and start to apply it. And you can do whatever it is that you're working on, because if Nicolas Cage can still get work, well, you can do anything. Dun, dun. Okay, I'm going to drop a couple of these QR codes back up for you. Just this is the one for the feedback, and then and I'll put this in the chat for you in case you don't have your phone available right now to scan. And then I'm going to look at the time, and I have time for questions if you have them. What do we got here? 1:28, 2 minutes early on the lightning round. I'm faster than lightning. Oh my gosh. And then this one here. Uh-oh. Didn't mean to do that. Oh man. Slideshow from current slide. There we go. I messed things up. Not the first time, not last time. Sorry, I'm fixing things here. Cool. If anyone has questions, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we have 2 minutes left. And thanks. It was nice to see some Yolo County folks in here. Some other folks at Yuba County, I think, is in here as well. Some California folks. All right, I'm going to put this one back up on the screen just so you have access to that one too. This is the one for feedback. And to get that free resource, I think there's 9 of the 50 tips in the free sample that you're getting today. Really love that document. It's really fun putting that together. Okay, we're at 1:29 p.m., which means we are less than 1 minute away from ending our time together. I don't see any questions coming through in the chat. So when the clock strikes 1:30, I'm going to, I guess, bow. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today. Hopefully you found some high level stuff that you really enjoy. These lightning sessions are just meant to be like high level, introduce you really quickly to some things. Hopefully give you some tools to walk away from that you can start applying when you get back to the office. Well, you're probably still at the office. Um, and there's more stuff coming for me. You're very welcome, Janet. Nice of you to come on here. Thank you so much. You are welcome, Cindy. All right, it's 1:30 on the nose. You are allowed to dismiss yourself. Some of you have already been doing it. And look for a follow-up from me after this, and hopefully you all signed up to stay connected for the Manager Academy coming out in September. I'm excited to do that. It's going to be really cool content. And with that, I say fare thee well. Have a great day. Please stay in touch. Bye.